Hello Aquarius, this is your astrological and card forecast for the week starting October 2nd, 2016. And this also, of course, applies to you Aquarius rising and you Aquarius moon people out there. Hello, how you doing? So let's just cut right to the chase and get right to the nitty-gritty. This week is going to be fraught with squares. And a little astrology lesson for those of you who like to learn about astrology, and for those of you who don't like to look behind the curtain, I'm going to tell you anyway. Squares have a tendency to be, you know, sort of like a really good gift that's rough around the edges. All right, it's a pressure. There's a pressure to kind of meet all needs at the same time. And sometimes that can feel a little bit overwhelming. And what's happening when it comes to the, you know, to the squares that are going on, this is all happening in your 12th house, your hidden zone in Capricorn, and in your 9th house, your area of higher education, broadcasting. This can be a contract, a legal area, or even your, you know, a philosophical, spiritual place. And when we have these squares, you know, it's important to understand where we need to accept cognitive dissonance to work it out, not reject it. And the first such incident is going to be coming up here between Tuesday and Wednesday, when Mars, the planet of action and energy, which is going through your 12th house, your hidden zone, is forming a square to Jupiter in your 9th. And this could actually be a really, really cool wake-up opportunity for a lot of you when it comes to your spiritual practice, if you have one. And for those of you who don't have a spiritual practice, this may be an, you know, sort of an accidental or surprise initiation into a spiritual path or practice that you maybe didn't know you were toying around with playing with. This is also an excellent time to be actually spending more time, you know, in a new social group, or spending more time with a friend that actually kind of has more of that meetings of the minds with you. There's a pressure here because it might feel like you are stepping away from a cultural or social norm. A lot of Aquarian people may be finding themselves in a situation where they are surrounded by more people who get them on that intellectual and spiritual level and are able to cultivate those conversations that they can't have on a day-to-day basis. And sometimes that can make us feel like we're committing some act of infidelity or doing something wrong, you know, with our friends and our family, especially if it's outside of what we're normally used to on a cultural level. However, I do think that you are meant to play around with this. On Friday, we have Pluto and the Sun going into the square between both of these areas. And this is a very different kind of clash. And this is actually talking about some brutal honesty, Aquarius, that you will most likely end up having to implement with a friend or with a relative that is most likely going to sort of not be actually catching up with who the real you is. You know, and sometimes that happens. I mean, even I meet people, you know, online, or I've met people through like college and university. I've met people through, you know, all kinds of different events and things like that who think they know me from that one instance. And it can, you know, and acting on that impulse, they can make some serious mistakes and, you know, some serious faux pas with me. And there could be an issue that like that happens with you this week on Friday. And you might have to dispel some illusions about what this person has about who you really are versus what they think you are, based on a very small fraction of the entirety of what you are and what you represent in this connection. Because I think this person is kind of acting either from memory or from, again, a very, very small slice of the pie. Almost said slice and pice. Slice and pie at the same time. Pice. No, kidding. Let's look and see here what's going on with your cards as well for this week. Okay, for your spiritual advice, we do have the card of the Unseelie Queen. And this card often talks about a need to pay attention to where ambition can actually prove to be a bit of a drug. And it, you know, when I say drug, I do mean that in a bad way. Because the Unseelie Queen can talk about the desire or the love or the covet, you know, or the coveting of, say, opulence. Or, you know, it's kind of like the difference between abundance and opulence. It's the difference between beauty and glamour. It's the difference between pride and hubris. That's what we're kind of walking on the edge of a knife with this week. And I think that this could also be coming from peer pressure, and we have to be careful about not falling in love with glitter and with glam and with appearances, but also not falling in love with status this week, because there can be an excessive amount of pressure to abide by a certain kind of status expectation for either a sense of security or a sense of achievement. But that really has nothing to do with the worth of a person or who they are. There are people in the world who have very, very good looks, tons of money, tons of followers and friends and things like that, and they're assholes. You've got to pay attention to where those kinds of things don't really make the man or the woman. Okay? So let's find out what's going on with your tarot cards for the week. For your Earth sector, when it comes to your work and finances, we do have the Ten of Pentacles inverted. Some of you may actually come to a point this week where a lot of you Aquarians are deciding it might be time to consider cutting your time at your place of employment short. Some of you may actually be kind of acting on the energy from that eclipse we had in Pisces just a couple of weeks ago, which kind of, was saying, in the 90 days following the 16th of September, there's a good chance a lot of you Aquarian people may be putting in your notice and looking for new work, and you may find that alternative this week. So we're kind of like putting a limit, we're putting an expiration date on our affiliation with this current company, possibly this week. The Ten of Pentacles inverted can also indicate, however, really good news as far as like a short burst of income. Not something long-term, but definitely almost more like a surprise bonus opportunity or a surprise bonus work opportunity falling into your lap this week. Now remember, it's a bonus. Now that doesn't mean it's bad. Absolutely not. Nobody hears bonus and thinks that's negative. But it's definitely something that's going to be for the shorter term. Enjoy it, savor it, and grab it if you want. For your communications with air, when it comes to your friends, your relatives, the others in your life, we have the Tower card inverted. And this card can indicate some very troubling news, unfortunately, coming to you from a friend or a relative who is in a very rough spot. You may actually be watching even a fight or an altercation between friends and relatives that probably does need to happen. Usually the Tower card does say when things need to happen. But it's almost like you're watching an entire clique or an entire household kind of erode. I don't think this actually has anything to do with you personally, though, because the Tower card inverted says that we are watching this happen. We're not participating in this happen. You may be finding out that, a friend is no longer happy with their group of friends, or, a relative is deciding to move or quit their job or break up or get divorced or something this week. And it's definitely going to come as a bit of a shock, because you're going to also find out that things were not as perfect as they wanted you to believe up until this point. This would definitely be, very much sort of, okay, yeah, what is going on behind the glitter in these situations? Sometimes it works so hard to look perfect because on the inside it's anything but. Your challenge this week with fire is the Queen of Cups, upright. And I can't really see this very well. It's weird, everywhere I move, there's always something. It's either too bright, which I'll fix, which is easier to fix in the last place, or it's too echoey, like in the last place. So it's like, oh God, do I want it's light of the sound? I'd rather have light problems than sound problems, though. I think most people would agree. So when it comes to the Queen of Cups, upright is your challenge, I do see that there is going to be... I don't necessarily think there's anything wrong with this person. I just think that maybe we have some issues with people getting more and more attached, and people who are not necessarily paying attention to what the truth about your feelings or your true philosophy really is. Because sometimes the Queen of Cups upright, in the spirit of being nurturing, a person can actually turn out to be quite controlling, or quite imposing. Have you ever had those moments where a person is trying to tell you, oh, well, I know you're this way, and you're that way, and Aquarius, no, you're that way, your actions say this, and it's like they won't even hear it from you, and they're trying to be nurturing, and they're trying to be there to help you, but it's kind of like they're helping the you in their head, not the you in real life. there may be some problems coming up with that misunderstanding there with the Queen of Cups. And again, I think her intentions are honestly really good, but I think that, you know, she's for some reason just not making the connection that, you know, again, that the slice of the pie is so much bigger. You know, this really kind of goes right back to, you know, to the astrology that we were talking about before. I think that she's trying to get close, but the side of you she's getting close to is so small compared to the rest of you. She's not willing to make room for the rest of you, and it's creating a problem, you know, as far as like intimacy and closeness is concerned, because it's, you know, at the end of the day, it's just bad listening. For your emotions with water and your romantic life, we do have the Four of Pentacles inverted. This card is actually a really good card to get inverted because this means we are getting rid of some pretense. Walls are coming down this week between you and a crush or you and a lover. And this could actually be very, very nice if you feel like somebody's been holding back or holding information back, or maybe somebody's not necessarily, how to phrase it, somebody's maybe not necessarily being as forthcoming or available as they could. Your crush or your lover may actually be deciding to let you know exactly what's up this week and, you know, allow you to be more inclusive. This is also a time for those of you who've been looking to maybe discuss tentatively seeing somebody or letting somebody know that you have an interest or a crush or an intrigue in regards to them. This might be the week to kind of let them know, because while those walls are down, everyone's more receptive. So that is your forecast, Aquarius. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe. You know I appreciate it. And of course, if you'd like to get a session, you can always follow the links below or go to integrativemysticism.com.